All right, here is the footage during the day in bright sun. Hey everyone, this is Nate and this is the Nader Tater channel. Alright, we're going to talk about this little security camera here. This guy is really neat. I just got it in and it is 2K resolution. It's got a built-in solar panel on the top and it uses Wi-Fi, so it's completely wire-free. No add-on accessories needed to connect it to your home network. And then if it gets 3 hours of sunlight, it will stay charged up all year around. Never have to get up and take it off to charge up a battery. So that's really cool. I'm going to talk through a lot of the features here. This will not be a regular unboxing video where I just pull it out and show you what the descriptions of the device is, but I actually test these units at my house long term and I give you feedback on them. So now I do have a lot of other Eufy products out there. In fact, one right here is sort of a another comparable unit to this new one. This one is the S220 camera, also called the Solo Cam, and this is a newer one. In fact, I have their older Solar Cam, I think S40 is what it's called, and that S41 is bigger form factor, and it has a built-in spotlight. This one does not have any spotlight. And then this one here is a Eufy Cam 3, or the technical name is S330 for it. And this one's 4K resolution, so twice the resolution of this guy. And it does have a small built-in spotlight there. It also has a built-in solar panel, so it has some other features to it, but it is more expensive. So it's about, I think, $100, give or take, more expensive than this new Solo Cam here. So let's focus in on this guy. Now, I also have some Ring video cameras out there. In fact, I have like 9 of them, I think, on my property. And I also have some other brands as well, between Foscam and others as well to test. And honestly, Eufys are one of my favorite ones. Now, this one is capable of hooking up with their home base. They have basically they call it a home base, and it's a little unit that not only has storage, so like a 1 terabyte, they sell it with a 1 terabyte hard drive if you want to buy that, but you can put up to like 16 terabyte. Just takes a regular computer hard drive in it, and that will keep all that storage on that one device. It also has built-in AI, or artificial intelligence, where it can do things like person recognition, not just is it a person or not, but actually facial recognition of specific people that you can save in your household. It also does pets and vehicles and other stuff like that. And it also has like security modes that it can all link in. So you can use this with that, or you can also just use this with your home Wi-Fi network and have it be by itself. It's not required. It does have 8 gigabyte of kind of like an SSD built into this, so it does give you probably a couple months of storage. I think it's about 3 months, they say, if it's regular use. So that's all local, and that's one of the really big benefits of the Eufy stuff is that storage is always local in this camera, or if you have a home base, it's local at your property or your house on that home base. And the AI, so all the artificial intelligence processing that happens, is done on the camera or on that home base. It doesn't have to get sent out to the cloud to happen. Was for Ring, it does have to do that, and that's probably one of the reasons why pretty much all the Ring stuff is 1080p, so a lower resolution, half the resolution of this guy here. Now, besides the camera, in the box you get a little USB cable that's a USB-A to USB-C for charging, but again, hopefully I never have to use that. Here's a mounting hardware, and then you get the mounting itself, and there's also a little sticker for a mounting guide. So this is just a standard kind of ball mount that a lot of cameras have, and it has 2 screw holes that you would screw to a wall or wherever you're going to do it, and then it has this little plastic insert with a ball mount that you tighten down, and as you tighten it down, it locks in the direction of that ball mount. So then it has a standard 1/4 by 20 thread, which pretty much all these cameras have, or even a standard like GoPro base has this thread as well. So that's all it has with it, and let's go in and show you how we set it up real fast and add it to my home camera setup from Eufy. Alright, so you have to download the Eufy security app, which I already have because again I have lots of these cameras already. And so what we can do here is I can go in and add a camera, so, or add a device, and then you have to tell that's a camera. So I go in here to battery camera, and then as we said before, that this is a Eufy Cam S220 down the bottom there, so it's new. It just came out. You can see some of these other ones they have out there as well for battery. And we'll tell it, yes, I'm going to do Nader Tater Home. And then you can tell the Wi-Fi to connect to. Alright, so now I press this button for 2 seconds on the bottom, which is a sync button. You hear the beep. Click next, and now we have a QR code for it to scan.
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network. Please wait.
Okay, so we heard it beep there and it told me that it's connecting to the Wi-Fi network.
Setup was successful.
Alright, so that was easy. And now we'll give it a name. Okay, so now we have the settings. Now, you can do optimal battery life. I found I get plenty of sun. Actually, all of my cameras stay at 100% pretty much. Maybe in the winter time over a long cloudy section of days or weeks, you know, I might get a little bit of a fall off there, but it never gets low. So I actually like to go to customize recording, and then, you know, it gives you a warning that it hurts the battery life. But I like to add it and even go to 120 seconds and have it as quick of an interval as possible. And then in fact I even turn off the in clip early so that it does not end when motion stops. And that's just because there's sometimes that maybe a car pulls up and it stops and there is no motion for a while, but eventually the delivery driver gets out. I like just keeping it recording, so I'm going to go to the full amount possible and have that as my setting. Now, I like also the full effect for the notification, because I really like having a picture of what it's showing, because that allows me to look really quickly and determine if I want to pay attention to it or not. So I do that. Alright, so it says fully charged. I've actually already done that. And charging, and then obviously here it tells you some tips for mounting it. You do want it 7 to 10 feet high is optimal, and then at about a 10-degree angle pointed down, and that gives you the best for solar, gives you the best for the motion detection, and it gives you the best view and ability to utilize the AI for facial detection, all that kind of good stuff. Alright, and then yes, of course, you want to have your full panel fully exposed, so you don't want to have half of it underneath an eave or something like that. Alright, there we are. So you can see what this looks like. It's right here. Alright, so it did its update, and now it is loaded up here in the app. And you can see a couple things here for settings. First, I'll skip the edge connection one just for now. We'll talk about it in a minute. We can go to the motion detect. You can see you can turn motion detect on and off. You can specify an activity zone where you can have 2 different activity zones that you can draw and have them detect only motion in those places. You can change the sensitivity. And in this one, since right now I have it set up on just my Wi-Fi directly without a home base, I can only tell it if I want to pick a human or all motions. Once I add it to the edge connection or to my home base 3, then it can do facial recognition, pets, vehicles, I forget what else, and all other motions as well. So those are the settings in there for that. Go back here to the dashboard. This is kind of neat because this shows you over time how the battery percentage holds up. So if you're seeing a steady decrease, or if it's discharging on a cloudy day and charging back up on a sunny day, that lets you know exactly how much charging you're getting out of that solar, and you might need to readjust it or position it differently if you're getting a continuous drain even on sunny days. So in here for video settings, you can change the things like the watermark that has Eufy in there. You can change the streaming quality. I leave that on automatic, so if you have poor connection on your phone, for example, or whatnot, or the device itself, it will lower the streaming quality for live viewing, but the recording quality is a separate setting, and so of course I leave that at the full 2K, but you can drop it down to 1080p. Night vision will kick on the infrared light. This one obviously does not have the spotlight or any kind of light on it, So what that means is that will use the IR light, and that means it'll be black and white if you have that on. If you have good enough light from a floodlight camera, barn light, some other exterior lights, you can turn that off and it won't go into that black and white mode. It will do some people call it color night vision, but really it's just regular color vision, and if you have enough light, then it can work. There's also privacy zones, so those are blackouts where it won't record those spots onto the file that gets saved. So they'll always be blacked out. So if you had like a neighbor and and they showed part of their backyard or part of their house, if you wanted to draw a black box around it, that will prevent it from recording anything that you don't want to have saved in your recordings. For audio settings, microphone, it does have both microphone and speaker, and you can adjust those settings in there. It is half duplex, which means you can only speak or hear. You can't do both at the same time, which is fairly typical, but also a little bit annoying on a lot of these cameras. For notifications, I already set that up as full effect, which means I'll get the text as quickly as possible, and then as soon as a thumbnail is available, it has to go through the cloud, then it will push that thumbnail to me as well. Motion alerts, you can change the sound that it makes when you get the motion alerts. And then here in general, again, this is where you can change the name, the status LED, if it's on when it's recording or not. Wi-Fi connection, you can update. Power manager, this is where you can change your settings for how long it records and how often it will re-trigger itself. And then time and storage here, this is the local storage, and you can see I just set it up so it's empty, and this shows you there is 7 gigabytes of available storage when it's new, and that's all built into that. Okay, so this is kind of the cool part, and that's this edge connection. So this is where you need to have a home base 3 in order for this to work, and so I do have that. So I'm going to tell this camera to connect to that home base, and I'll give you this warning here. Anytime you switch between your home Wi-Fi and the edge base, that home base has its own wireless signal, and it does not use your home Wi-Fi, which is a pro and a con. The main con is, for me, I have actually 6 Wi-Fi routers mesh system throughout my property, including going through 4 different buildings. And to do that, I have Ethernet or other ways to get the Wi-Fi to these faraway buildings. And for any of my other cameras that use my home Wi-Fi, they'll work all across the property. But if I have to connect directly back to that home base, its Wi-Fi doesn't cover that far. So I can't actually put these anywhere I want if they're connected to the home base, because I'm constrained by the range of that single home base versus my 6 router mesh system. So a lot of people probably don't have that problem, but just something to know that if you are connecting to the home base, you have to be within range of it, which is going to vary greatly based off where you place it, how many walls you have, if you're putting cameras outside, inside, all that kind of good stuff. Alright, so after a couple seconds, that is successful, and now we can go back here to my Solo Cam, and I can go in here to the settings here. And now if I go into the motion detection where I was before, if you recall, before I just had human detection, which is the only one that's checked. And here I can click on the human recognition, the vehicle recognition, pet recognition, which is all in beta. And then I can also click on all other motions if I want to, but for this one specifically, I don't want all other motions. I'm going to keep it constrained to these, because that really does help prevent the shadows from trees swaying and that kind of stuff. Sometimes you do get false detection where it thinks something is a pet or a human or whatnot, or maybe it doesn't detect the vehicle as an actual vehicle. But it is pretty good, and it certainly helps prevent the false alarms. Okay, well now I just need to go get it mounted outside, and then we'll do some testing to see how well it performs. Alright, so here's the footage of it during the day. Hi, hey everyone, this is Nate, and this is the Nader Tater channel. Again, this is the camera at nighttime. Now I'm a good 20 plus feet away from the camera, and it's not pitch dark out here. I do have some light from the garage and from the front porch that's about 30, 40 feet away. But overall, this is the footage at nighttime as well as the sound quality. All right, so it's been out there for a few days. I've been testing it both daytime, nighttime, with people walking, with vehicles driving in front of it to see how it works. And it works pretty much like all my other Eufy stuff, which is pretty good. There are some times that it does do some false detections, or maybe it doesn't always pick up every single human. If there's lots of them walking, it'll just show you that there's three and there maybe was four. But that's, to me, that's a fair pass. If it detects that a person's walking there and it flags them, and then it can also detect that, hey, that one is Nate based off the facial recognition. That's some cool stuff that it does. Now, the nighttime imaging is a little bit lower quality than this, the 4K one I was showing you. I think that was the Solo Cam 3, which is more expensive, and the image sensor size is probably the reason for that. So lower end cameras typically have a smaller sensor size, and that gives them worse nighttime vision. And what that means is, if I move quickly across the screen, then there is ghosting that goes on, where the person or the object moving appears to be kind of transparent, and there's some repeats of them. They call it ghosting. But it does work well. The spotlight is, in a lot of cases, in my needs, is not required, nor does it always even help if I have the camera far away. A little tiny spotlight doesn't make a big difference in the lighting environment. So I think it's a good way to go. It does stay charged. If we go in here to the camera settings, and I look here on the dashboard, we can see that when I put it in, I guess it was a little bit below 100% state of charge. I've been using it. I've been having it set at the 2-minute recording without ending early, but even so, it's been charging up, and now it's up at 100%. So even with all that motion, it stays at 100% for me. And if we go in here to motion detect, this is where I'll show you that I did increase the sensitivity up to 6, but then I added some activity zones to help tailor in the detection, so that it was just in a few key places, and that was mainly to try to keep it out of trees and close to the house, where you could have like a bug or something get on there and it's really close to the camera. So I didn't really get a lot of indications of false alarms there. I just did this as a precaution because I know it makes it easier to prevent false alarms. So they do try to do with that local AI and not having all motion detected. It tries to weed out all of the false alarms, like trees moving, bushes moving, that kind of stuff. But it's not that hard to add a couple zones just to really focus in on specific areas. So that's what I did for my testing here. All right, if we go into some of the recordings here, you can see a couple things that it shows you. So this is on the top where it has the Nate and the picture, the big circle there with my face. That picture is actually one I took with the Eufy app, and had it learn my face and said, hey, this is Nate. If you see this face, label it as Nate. And then if you look down here, you can see where it shows human, human, and then you can see, so it doesn't always pick me up. It does need kind of a clear face image. Obviously, if you're turned away from the camera or whatnot, then it can't detect your face. But you can see through here, every time it picks up a human, it shows you, those top two have two humans depicted there, and it has a little zoomed in icon. So this is kind of nice that it can quickly go through and you can get a closer up look of what it detected. And then if it does detect a known face, it will list that there as well. And you can even search by that kind of stuff, right? You can say, hey, only show me ones with a vehicle, only show me ones with a person, or even show me only ones with a certain person. So this is how it records that stuff, and then you can click on any of these and pull it up and have it play, and you can also download it as well. So if I look here on the bottom, this is where you can download it, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course delete it. So that's some of the stuff that you can do in the app, and I think it works well. So overall, I do recommend this camera. I think it is a good value that you can get. Right now, I think I actually just saw it on sale for $100. Typically, it's a little over $100. I do have some links in the video description down below that can get you some coupons and discounts for it as well. But if you want something that's quick, easy to set up, and then it is all solar powered, you never have to touch it. This is really a nice way to go. It has good video quality, especially during the day. Nighttime's a little bit weaker, but if you have some good lighting in the area that you're going to put it in, then it really will not be a problem at all. If it's pitch dark, you'll probably get some more of that ghosting effect, and that might disappoint some viewers depending on what their needs are. As always, thanks for watching. If you have questions, put them down in the comments below. I do try to answer most of my viewers' questions in the comments. And then stay tuned for more videos.